Importance of hearing. You knew this was going to be the topic, right? Good. The importance of hearing. During the past weekend, it was a very nice experience. Two of us, one devotee named Amarendra from Atlanta, from India, but Sanskrit scholar, and I spoke over the weekend on personalities from Braja Lila. Very nice experience, for me at least. Hopefully for the persons who participated. And then we spoke a little duet, shared the microphone for the Potomac Temple Sunday Feast in the midday, an evening in Baltimore. This was the topic in Baltimore. I was moved by the topic, and so I'm sharing it here. But some of you were with us in Baltimore, so you already know the topic. But it's good to hear it again. Srimad Bhagavatam describes the 9 processes of bhakti. The 9 processes of bhakti are sequential, they lead one to the next. And it starts with hearing, Shravanam. Shravanam. Following Shravanam is repeat the sound, Kirtanam. Hearing, repeating. Awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness, Vishnu Smaranam. And throughout the whole range of the stages of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam are important and present. So the importance of hearing, one of the places where the importance of hearing is described is Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse number 17. Verse number 17. So let us recite responsively 1, 2, 17. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksthoya Bhadrani Vidho Noti Saritsatam. So the last word in the third line, abhadrani, indicates things that are inauspicious. They're situated hridi, within the heart. Hridyantakstho yabhadrani. Abhadras, inauspicious, unwanted things, are situated in the heart. And the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, tunoti, that cleanses those abhadras. There are persons who, there's some qualification to help get the fullest benefit. And those, that's in the last 2 words, suritsatam. So, Shrinvata Swakata Krishna, hearing, but specifically hearing topics about Krishna. Swakata, Krishna. And then the second line, punya. Punya doesn't mean, there's material punya and there's spiritual punya. Material punya means acts of charity or benefit, that opening schools and hospitals and feeding poor people and doing things that are charitable in nature, punya. And for that punya, one gets some punya points, some credit for having done some material piety. And that's one of the reasons or inspirations behind persons doing charity work, is they feel they'll get something. It's kind of a business deal. They do some piety, they receive some benefit. And there's many statements in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas to describe this charity or this sacrifice, this work done, such and such will come back. Such and such will come back. So it's a calculation. No nothing wrong, but it's not the higher stage of spiritual practice. But those that do, it increases their piety, their punya, and they get the punya results. But this is a different kind of punya. This is a spiritual, not mixed with material kind of punya. And the two messages, Shravana and Kirtana. Punya, Shravana, Kirtana. The benefit of this punya, Shravana, Kirtana on topics about Krishna is the heart becomes cleansed, vidhunoti, of all inauspicious things, unwanted things in the heart. That's good. That's good. So here's Prabhupada's translation. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, Hridyantakstha, he is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the true Surit Satam. Satam is the devotee, and Surit is the benefactor. It's Krishna directly who cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. In themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
Recording in progress.
Is that on my computer that mute?
You want to unmute?
Yeah, because we're not going to be hearing anybody saying anything. A little distracting. So it's clear. This verse, this is a foundational verse. The whole chapter, the section of this chapter 2, is setting the stage for much of the rest of Srimad Bhagavatam. These same ideas are embedded in other verses and other verses and subsequent verses. So, but this is a foundational statement of the process of bhakti. So it's the heart of every living entity, more than bhakti, for Krishna, according to Dinacharya Tamrita. Livings are conscious, but consciousness is covered. And the pure state of consciousness is the stage of being connected with the Supreme Person. The mature stage of that is Krishna Prema. So that's already within, like in a seed. And then seeds they can keep storage of the whatever is in this life that's within the seed for many, many, many years, so many years. And seeds can then fructify by the fructification process. And similarly, the seed, bhakti lata, the seed of the creeper of bhakti, is already within. And the seed of the creeper of bhakti becomes sprouted or awakened by the Shravanam Kirtanam process. Just before coming here, I was in Virginia. Really interesting experience. There was a lady in the audience, quite elderly. I didn't ask her age, but quite elderly, and very attentive to hearing. And she wanted to ask a question. She wanted to ask the question she wanted to ask is, how does one start? In her 70s, how does one start? Not that she didn't know, but she wanted to hear. So the answer I gave is Shravanam Kirtanam. It's how bhakti begins. Now her bhakti has begun a long time ago, but bhakti begins whether it's a long time ago or not. It's just hearing. Just hearing. For example, this is maybe just some sharing. But this morning, we didn't have a morning class because I was busy with a Zoom call, and we were discussing some events that are going to take place in Gita Nagari in April for completely new people that don't know anything about anything. Now, all of us know something. We may not know the right something, but we know something. Like this 70-plus-year-old lady, she knows something. But whether one knows something or not, so they're called body, mind, spirit events, body, mind, spirit retreat. Completely new people, they don't know anything. They don't know Hare Krishna, they don't know Bhagavad Gita. It's just a farm with cows out in the country at retreat, body, mind, spirit retreat, some yoga, nice vegetarian food. So, curiosity seekers. So far, 30 people signed up. Just social media. So, what are we going to present? I beg your pardon? Now it's 60. Okay, there's two. There's people that have already attended some, and there's one that people haven't attended anything. So it's now up to 60. That's good. So that's great. And so what are we going to give them? It's going to be Shravanam Kirtanam, but the package is going to look a little different. But the gift is Shravanam Kirtanam. So it's a little bit, to make it easy, you can just sip a little bit instead of try to drink water from a hose. Little bit. But the sipping is Shravanam Kirtanam, and that's how bhakti awakens. And when bhakti becomes matured, it's prema. And so it's already there in a seed form. It's sprouted or awakened by Shravanam Kirtanam. And then what happens when it becomes matured? Shravanam Kirtanam. It doesn't stop. It's not time-bound. It carries on. Here's a nice little, here's the next verse, 1.2.18. See? Okay, we'll just chant the verse. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. So I underline nityam. Nityam literally means always or regularly. Like regularly. In the practice of, according to Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutra book, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, practice or abhyasa has three parts. Nityam is one of them. It's something that's done every day. Then it's done for a prolonged period of time. And then the third qualification for practice or abhyasa is there's some faith that there's some effectiveness in the activities. In other words, beyond mechanical, is consciousness is invested with some faith. That's implied in this nityam. And there's the word abhadra again, the inauspicious things. The beginning part means destroyed. And ayeshu, it's just describing a stage of bhakti that begins as an intermediate stage. So as abhadra vidonoti suritsatam, as the heart is being cleansed of unwanted things, it doesn't immediately. It's gradual, it's organic, it happens incrementally. So this is the prayeshu means substantially destroyed. Nashta prayeshu, but not complete yet. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Sevaya, we know, it means service. Service unto Bhagavata. So Bhagavata, Prabhupada has explained, there's Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there's Bhagavata. It means in relation to Bhagavan, Bhagavata. So there's two Bhagavatas, the book and the person. Last night we met one of your guests who doesn't read so much, but he liked giving gifts of Bhagavatam sets to people. You know the person? No? He was there. It says one of the things he likes to do. It was Premji?
Came with his mother.
Okay. So you know who I'm referring to. He was saying, I'm not a big reader, but he's grahasta, so one of the duties of grahasta is being charitable. So he's charitable. But what a gift. He gives Bhagavatam. Somebody else was asked in the course of the last 4 or 5 days, is it okay to make a gift of Bhagavad Gita to libraries and in other places? Fantastic. It's a charity is one of the essential functions. Stuff. I mean, it doesn't mean others are not to be charitable, but it's especially a duty. So what their gift? Give the gift of transcendental knowledge, full sublime form. So that's the book Bhagavata, and that rendering service to the book generally is by hearing it and then adjusting one's lifestyle according to what as the heart becomes cleansed, etc. Gradually serving the book and serving the person. The person Bhagavata is one who lives by the Bhagavata. They live by the scripture, and it's this nashta prabhadreshu is accomplished. The near eradication of all unwanted things is accomplished by nityam, regular Bhagavata sevaya. Then further, Bhagavati uttama shloke. Uttama is a name of Krishna, who is by topmost slokas, and shloke is evocative. Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati. Bhaktir bhavati means bhakti arises. Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki, as a irrevocable fact. Naishtaki. So here's the translation. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, the person Bhagavata, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, meaning it's just the stage until it's completely destroyed, intermediate stage. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. That is the awakening of that which has been forgotten. The awakening of that which has been forgotten, in Prabhupada's own words, is what he was doing. Heard twice. I hadn't heard this before I went to Pune, but the temple president there, Ananda Vrindavan Dasi, she made reference to 1969, something like that. Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, why have you come to England? And Prabhupada's answer is, come to remind you of that which you have forgotten. Because our relationship with Krishna is forgotten, and there's a way to remember or reawaken. So the importance of hearing. According to reference to this, but this is across the top, is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, because coming up in a couple of weeks is the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, Gaura Purnima. So the book Chaitanya Charitamrita you're going to hear more about it and from it probably as we get closer. This is a verse from there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoi. So sadhya means the goal. There's the sadhana, that's the process, and sadhya means is to be fulfilled by the process. And that goal, or the sadhya of the hearing and chanting, is Krishna Prema. And Krishna Prema, the verse is saying, Krishna Prema is already situated. Nitya Siddha, the stage of that eternal perfection of Krishna Prema, that's the goal, and it's awakened Shravanadi, Shravana, etc. Beginning with Shravana. So it means, it refers to those processes of bhakti. Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu Smarana. Those are the first three. That's the remembrance, Smarana. To remind us of that which we have forgotten, Krishna Smarana. Remembering Krishna. And then other